everybody. Hey, everybody. How's it going tonight? Welcome. My name is Christine Blackburn, and you are at the story-worthy hour of power. And following this first hour, you know that we play Story Smash, the storytelling game show, and tonight is going to be a blast. I have so much talent on the show tonight, plus I have a big announcement later in the show. So I'm super glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's been another big, crazy week in our country and in the world for that matter. I don't know if you guys watched the Supreme Court hearings last week, but I was watching them and it was like so obvious when the Republicans were questioning Amy Coney Barrett, you know, because they would try to relieve the tension by making some stupid joke, you know, like, so, Miss Barrett, who does the dishes in your house? Stop it. Stop it. You're not funny. You're not a comedian. So don't even try it. And I was thinking about how angry it made me for these people to be making jokes, you know, on the Senate floor. Are you kidding me? And it makes me think, where else should people not be making jokes? Like, who else shouldn't make jokes? I'll tell you another one. Doctors. I don't really want to hear your jokes. You know what I mean? It's not that funny to me. So hold it to yourself. Lifeguards. I don't need to hear any jokes from lifeguards. So again, welcome to the Hour of Power. The question of the night in the chat room is, who don't you want to see funny? Who don't you want to see funny? Also, I don't know about you guys, but I have been taking a lot of naps during this pandemic. I mean, I can't stop sleeping in the middle of the afternoon. And then I'm also having these nightmares, which doesn't help. You know, I'm having these nightmares about losing our democracy, about Roe v. Wade being overturned. I'm having these nightmares about not seeing my mother again. I'm having nightmares about I'm going to lose my health insurance. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, those aren't nightmares. This is what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what's happening right now. For that matter, Europe, they have seen their highest ever coronavirus numbers this week. And like, I didn't even know Trump was having a rally over there. Anything? Oh my gosh. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. I'm on Twitter a lot. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but you should be. You should be. It's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot of stuff. Like, you learn about how big of idiots people are. Like, for example, Kirstie Alley. Here's what she tweets the other day. At Kirstie Alley, I'm voting for real Donald Trump because he's not a politician. That's true. I voted for him 4 years ago for this reason, and I shall vote for him again for this reason. He gets things done quickly, and he will turn the economy around quickly. There you have it, folks. There you have it. And you thought Scientology had a hold on her. Oh no, she can get a lot crazier. Kirstie Alley, she had a vitamin store down my street for a couple of years. I never saw anybody in there. I never saw anybody leave there. It was just one of those big crazy vitamin rings. You know what I mean by those vitamin rings? Like, somehow you're talked into taking vitamins that you just, you know, you pee out. And anyway, Kirstie Alley, ladies and gentlemen. I got my kitten spayed this week. Yeah, you got to spay your kittens and your cats, your dogs, etc. She has to wear that cone, you know, and she's not happy about it. She is not happy about it. And I told her, I'm like, baby Olive, the vet said you need to wear the cone so you won't pull your stitches out. And she said, meow, meow, fake news, meow. I mean, even cats are being duped. My boyfriend said that wasn't funny. I said, that's funny. Anyway, okay, great. I can't stop laughing at my cat though, because she's walking around the house. I'm gonna bring her out here in a second. The kitten is walking around the house with this big cone on her head, and I keep laughing at her because she's, you know, banging into the walls and she's banging on the doors, and she can't get her food properly, she can't get her water properly, and she's just sitting back there staring at me with these big eyes. And I know she's thinking, when I get out of this collar, I'm gonna scratch your eyes out. That's what she's thinking. By the way, you guys, can we take the Halloween decorations down? I mean, I know it's not Halloween yet. Could we be done with this, please? Because I'm over it. I think I did tell you guys that we are participating in a trunk or treat this year, a trunk or treat, because you can't go trick or treating. So I have to take my daughter to a big parking lot where we will decorate our cars. And then as people come by our car, we'll throw candy at them and rev the engine. No, we're not going to rev the engine. But, we got to decorate the car. And I was thinking about going as an old Subaru that's wheels squeak when I turn the wheel. But it's too lifelike. It's too lifelike. I got tested for COVID the other day. Went to Dodger Stadium. It's a drive-through situation. It's really quite simple. You never stop driving because they basically, toss the kit in your car. They scan. You don't even have to put your window down. They scan your phone and then they toss a kit in the car. You drive a little bit and then you start swabbing your nose as you drive and then you toss your kit into another bin and then you just, you're out of there. So it's pretty convenient. The test, my boyfriend, his test came back first. His test came back yesterday morning, like 22 hours later, not long at all. And he was negative. And, of course I was happy for him, obviously. But, where were my results? You know what I mean? What is happening with me? This was like worse than finding out if I had chlamydia in college. Like, what happened? Are they holding on to my test because they're not sure or something? God forbid I have the COVIDs. Anyway, like I said, I don't. Okay. So basically I buried the lead. That's what happened there. That's okay. All right, you guys, we're going to get this show started. Like I said, we've got a terrific hour of power coming up, and we have Story Smash in the after show, and we're going to be bringing on Blankapatch and Madeline Smithberg and Rachel Butera. Those are our three judges tonight, so stay tuned for that at 7 o'clock. But right now, let's bring on our first storyteller of the evening. Now, this guy has a podcast that I listen to every single week. I've never missed one of them because it's smart and it's funny and it's informative and I agree with everything he says. So that's my perfect kind of podcast. I agree. You guys should listen to it too. It's called Who's Paying Attention? And every time he asks that on the show, I'm in my kitchen. I'm like, I am, Alonzo, I am. This guy's a really hardworking comedian that tours extensively, and you've seen him all over television, on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Comedy Central, The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore, Californication, and he was on Dr. Phil. I want to know what that was all about. Please, you guys, put your hands together for my friend Alonzo Bodden. Hey, Alonzo.
Hello, Christine. Here I am. How are you? How are all you people out there? Thank you for that intro. I would love to comment on everything you said, but I'll just stick to Christy Alley, who says, oh, I'm voting for him because he's not a politician. And the next time she needs a doctor, we'll send her a plumber. You know why? Because he's not a doctor. I can't wait to watch Storyworthy in 2 or 3 years when we tell our stories of 2020. Those are going to be some good stories. But for my story, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to 1980 when I first moved to LA and tell you the story of my first car. I went to a school in New York called Aviation High School, and I graduated licensed as an airplane mechanic, and I got hired by Lockheed Aircraft in Burbank. I told my dad I had a job waiting in California. For my 18th birthday, he gave me the gift of a trunk to pack and a one-way ticket to LA. I was out of the house. So I get to LA, and it is everything that I wanted it to be. The job was great. And, for an 18-year-old kid, I was making really good money working at Lockheed. At the time, it was great. So I want to get my first car. Now, I am a car nut growing up. I'm one of those kids who reads all the car magazines. I know what all the hot rods are, and I can't wait to get my car. And I know my first car is going to be like a hot rod, like an American muscle car from the 60s. Now remember, this is in 1980. So in 1980, a car from the 60s wasn't a classic worth a fortune like it is today. It was just an old car. So searching and searching, I find the car. I find the perfect car. It was a red 1967 Camaro SS. That's right. The first year of the Chevy Camaro, it was an SS. That's the one where the headlights close. It was just beautiful, just beautiful. And the one I bought was in great condition. It had a 350 engine. It had a 4-speed transmission. It was really a hot rod. But of course, this was just the beginning. This was just the car that I'm going to start with because I'm going to fix this thing up. So right away, I get to it. Now, I'm a mechanic. My friends, we're all mechanics. We love our cars. Every weekend is spent building a car, putting something on the car, chrome this, hot rod that. I mean, I put on the chrome valve covers and the shiny chrome air cleaner. I put in the stereo at the time. You had to have 6x9 speakers. Those who are old enough to remember will know what I'm talking about. We put these 6x9 big oval speakers on the back deck of the car. Nobody told us that back deck was made of nothing but cardboard, so your big speakers would blow right through it. But at the time, we were geniuses. It was thumping. Then you had to raise the car up. You had to have the car up on an angle like this. So you get your air shocks. You put air shocks on the back so you can inflate them and raise up the back of the car. So now it looks like a dragster. And then come the wheels. Back then they had this company they called Centerline. And Centerline made these spun aluminum wheels straight from the drag strip. And I put Centerlines on the car. So now my Camaro is looking badass, and my friends are like, man, that is a cool car. And the car, people love the car. More people than I knew were watching my car. I'll get to that in a minute, but it's coming together. Next thing was the interior. It had this bright red vinyl interior that probably looked pretty good in 1967. And some of you don't even know that cars from 1967, a feature in 1967 was seat belts. That's right, my car was badass. It had seat belts for both front passengers. Obviously there were bucket seats, but I had to improve on that. So I go to the interior place, and the guy does a two-tone black and red leather interior, front and back. Now this car is just badass. This car is done. And I remember one of the cool things about it, I had this white 8-ball shifter. That was the gear shift. It was I guess more like a cue ball, but it looked really cool. So this is my car. I'm an 18-year-old kid. I'm driving this badass hot rod. I got a great job at Lockheed. At Lockheed, I was working for Stealth Works, and that was the division of Lockheed that did top secret work. We were working on the stealth fighter, the F-117, the most secret aircraft in the world at the time. Well, this is how you work on a secret aircraft. You park, you go in the gate is locked behind you, so you can't go out at lunchtime. You're there all day. You go in the hangar, all the windows are blacked out. You can't see out, people can't see in. We're all doing top secret work. I come outside the end of the day. Where's my car? I know I parked it right here. Where's my car? Now I'm walking. Now, mind you, Lockheed employed thousands of people, so just think of the most crowded mall parking lot you can imagine. And this is the parking lot. I'm walking back and forth looking for my car. And my boys are just laughing. They're like, you lost your car? How high were you last night? The hell, what's wrong? You don't remember where you parked? I'm like, man, somebody stole my car. They're like, nah, man, you just can't find it. So now I have to wait about an hour till everyone's left. And sure enough, my car is gone. Parking lot is empty. Well, this is Lockheed Aircraft. In the 80s, Lockheed employed 20,000 people. They had their own in-house, on-grounds police department, fire department, the whole thing. So I go to Lockheed Security to report my car stolen. Mind you, they have cameras. They're monitoring this. This is a major company. And the guy behind the desk was very comfortable in telling me, oh, you got your car stolen? Yeah, it happens here every day. What? Oh, yeah, there's always cars. Being security, I would have liked to have a stolen car bother him a bit, but no, he was quite comfortable with the fact, oh, yeah, what they do, see, they know once you guys go in, you're not coming out for 8 hours. So they drive around the parking lot and they basically shop around and see what the best cars are and they steal them. And I'm like, and you're aware of all this and you don't, maybe have a car, drive it. Oh no, the parking lot's too big for us to patrol it. So we just kind of, wait for the reports to come in. So apparently, as I was building my hot rod, the car thieves were watching it. And every weekend when I would put a new part on the car, they were like, this is coming along nicely. Oh wow, he put a stereo in it. That's going to sound really good. Hey, check out those wheels. Those wheels are badass. This is going to be great. Oh, the interior's done. I think it's done. Yeah, are you ready? Yeah, I think it's ready. Yeah. Okay. When he comes to work tomorrow, let's steal it. Never to be seen again. The car was gone. I had to argue with my insurance company, fight them because, to the insurance company, a 1967 Camaro is just an old car. They don't care how much money I spent on the wheels and the interior and the stereo. And I fought, and I've learned all about insurance claims as a side bonus. The police did get involved. The Burbank Police Department did get involved. It was approximately 11 months later when they sent me a letter asking if I happened to find the car because they'd like to close the case. And I said, no, in between building aircraft, I haven't had time to chase down the car thieves. This isn't John Wick. This isn't John Wick. I can't go see John Leguizamo and find out who took my car and go kill him and his gangster family. So I'm sorry, Burbank PD, but I was unable to locate my own car, but I do thank you for your concern. So I'm sure that car ended up somewhere. I hope it ended up in good hands, and perhaps since then I've seen it at a classic car show somewhere. But that is the story of my first car, my first experience owning a car at Lockheed Aircraft. It was a great car. It was really a cool car. Today, that 1967 Camaro would probably be worth, I don't know, in excess of $50,000. But when stolen, as I remember, State Farm gave me a solid $4,500, which, in 1980 money is $4,500. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of my first car.
Wow, that I'm so glad you just said how much you got from it because that was going to be my first question. What'd you get?
Yeah, it was about $4,500. I paid like $2,500 for the car when I bought it, and they did give me money for all the stuff stolen. The parts that I had put on it. I had to fight them.
Yeah.
But I did end up getting about $4,500.
Well, that was something. I find that very interesting that you guys were in that remote site. So you didn't really know then where you were working.
No, we knew. It was in Burbank. It was where, next to Burbank Airport, it's a strip mall now, but at the time, Lockheed had hangars there, but it was all fenced off. And like I said, once you went in,
Yeah.
they basically locked the gate behind you, and the hangars were all blacked out, right? So all the windows
That's really
were painted
interesting.
over.
And
What was
sometimes,
really, oh, just
no,
real quick,
just
what was really interesting, and they have pictures of this at Burbank Airport, on top of all the buildings, they built model houses. They had this so that if we were attacked, say, by the Japanese and they flew over the top, it looked just like the surrounding neighborhood. You didn't know that there was an aircraft plant there.
wow, that's so funny. And it's close to what I was just going to say. I don't know why I didn't think houses. I was thinking, I'm surprised they didn't put camouflage over top. But then that wouldn't be camouflage because there's no camouflage in Burbank.
Right. No, it actually looked from the sky, it looked like the surrounding neighborhood.
That
Now
is very funny.
the car thieves knew that, so they knew that the police helicopters would never interrupt their business.
Wow. Wow, that's super interesting. Now, I know you are kind of a car guy, but you're also a motorcycle guy. What's the
Yes,
priority?
motorcycles. I'm a motorcycle guy who likes cars.
So tonight you're taking your bike down to San Diego, or are you driving?
No, I'm driving because I'm working down there and I got to carry, clothes and some stuff for the next 2 days. So I'm
Yeah.
driving. Whenever I have to, if I can go to a gig and come home, I take the bike. But if I have to bring stuff, it's just easier with the car.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, thank you so much, Alonzo Bodden. I'm just so happy you were here. You guys give Alonzo a big round of applause wherever you are. Give him
Thank
a
you,
round of
Christine.
applause. Thank you, man.
And
I appreciate it.
to all your people, please vote, and don't drop your ballot in a box on the corner that says "drop your ballot here," because those are fake boxes.
So damn scary, right? Can you believe that?
It's ridiculous. It's
All right, listen,
ridiculous.
and you guys, I'll put it in the chat there. You've got to check out Alonzo's. It's just so smart. Your podcast is so, and it's so smart because it's what I'm thinking too. So, and you just put it very eloquently. You've got a great way of speaking. So, thank you for the podcast.
Thank you, Christine. Have a great night, everybody watching, and keep watching this. Keep listening to the stories. Take
All
care.
right, thanks, man. Okay, you guys, this next talent coming to the stage, he's a comedian who has, excuse me, this is a girl actually coming to the stage. This was a fabulous girl. She's actually been on the show before, and she's been on my other shows as well. I love her to death. She is a comedian who has performed all over the world, and now primarily she performs on Zoom. I messed that up. And now she performs exclusively on Zoom. Sorry, Melanie. She has development deals and television projects ready to go with HBO Max, the WB, and Universal. What a talented girl. Please put your hands together for the fabulous Melanie Maris.
Oh my God, Christine. I think the way I wrote that was supposed to be funny, but then it wasn't funny at all, like not even a little bit. And now I'm terrified because I put my ballot in one of those boxes. I thought those boxes were legit. I thought we were not supposed to put them in the mailbox because the mailbox was not legit, but the boxes are, I mean, it's gone now. So it's too late. It was next to a library. I don't know if anybody knows if those are legit boxes. You could let me know. Anyway, so I'm also going to tell a story about how when I first came to LA, it is different than Alonzo's because I couldn't drive when I first came to LA, but I'll start at the beginning. So when I was a kid, I was completely unremarkable. And I know it's hard to believe, look at me now on Zoom, but I just didn't have anything going for me, or I didn't think I had anything going for me. I was really like OG awkward, which means nobody likes you, okay? Nobody likes you, no boys like you, nobody wants to be your friend. I would think that I was being really cute with my outfits and I was really bringing it. And one time this boy at school who I liked came up to me and he said, Melanie, it's so great how you dress like a clown to entertain all of us. So that's how well I was doing. Now, there was, I grew up in Indonesia and I grew up around a lot of the international community, and British pantomime was like really popular. Like they would put on a big show every year. And so they had these auditions, and the pantomime that year was Cinderella. And I was auditioning for the part of a penguin. And I know you're thinking, oh, I don't remember there being any penguins in Cinderella. It's like, well, that's because you've never seen a British pantomime. And I went to this audition. It was at the American Club, and there were so many people there, and it was the room was just absolutely full of people, and there were all these adults in there, and I don't know what this audition was for a penguin. I don't know what they told us to do. I can't remember, but all I remember is that when it was my turn, something just came over me, and I knew that I was able to captivate a whole room of adults. Like I had every eye trained on me, and it was the first moment in my life where I ever felt like, oh, like I have something going for me. Like I don't know what I'm doing right now, and I don't know how this is happening, but it was the first moment of my life I felt worthwhile. So fast forward many years, and I thought that I wanted to be an actor. So I moved to New York City. You move to New York City, you want to be an actor, where do you go? I went straight to Times Square. And I went to this place, and I think it was literally called something like Be a Star. It should have been called Be a Schmuck. They would have these sort of acting classes, and I do use the word class very liberally here. And I'm going to be a star. One day I'm at City Bakery, which, rest in peace, City Bakery, it's no longer there anymore. I'm there, I'm having a hot chocolate, I'm having my pretzel croissant, and I'm looking over my sides for class at Be a Star, and I overhear this conversation of these people next to me, and they're talking about how they work in production on a TV show, and I'm like, what do they teach you at Be a Star? They teach you to always be prepared. What do I have on me? My headshot and resume. What's on my resume? Drama 2 from high school. She didn't stop at drama 1. No, she kept going. And let me tell you something, drama 2 goes a long way in New York City. So I can't even believe I did this. I pick up my headshot and resume. By the way, my headshot is it's all black and white. My face is just completely blown out by flash. I have absolutely not even any features, maybe 2 nostrils, 2 eyes. And I take my headshot and resume, I walk over to this table and I say, excuse me, you might not believe this, but I'm an actor. And they look at me and they go, oh, okay. And I just lay my headshot and resume on their table. And they said, thank you. And I go, you're welcome. These are complete strangers, by the way. So I walk away from there. I'm so proud of myself. I want to say 2 years pass. And I get a phone call from the casting director at Law and Order. And she's like, one of our writers gave us your headshot and resume. Sometimes it takes us a while to get people in here. We'd like you to come in for the part of Asian nurse, right? And I'm a shoo-in for the role, clearly. And it's one line, by the way. It's a one-line role. Now, at this point, I have gone to drama school. At this point, I am a professionally trained actor. And I actually paid someone to coach me for this audition. One line. I go in there and the line is, here are your test results, right? And I'm like, here are your test results. And the casting director is like, okay, maybe try it one more time, maybe a little more natural this time. And I'm like, here are your test results. So I did not get cast on Law and Order. I've never been cast on Law and Order. I've never been cast on anything because I very quickly realized that acting was absolutely not for me. So I ended up writing a play. The play did really, really well. I ended up signing with these managers in Los Angeles. So they were like, Melanie, what are you doing writing for theater in New York? Don't you want to be rich and famous? Why don't you come to LA? And I said, absolutely. Rich and Famous has my name written all over it. So I moved to Los Angeles. I have stars in my eyes. My managers at the time, they were Diablo Cody's managers. And so every meeting I would go to, everywhere I would go, people would be like, oh my God, you're the next Diablo Cody. Everyone is blowing all this smoke up my ass. I'm absolutely loving it, by the way. And I was pretty sure that I was going to be at the Oscars as a nominee within like a calendar year. And, fast forward 4 years later, I've never even had a staff meeting for a TV show. But I have had a sociopathic boyfriend. So I write this solo show about the experience. And that's a whole other story for another day. But I put this solo show on. I did everything wrong. If you're thinking about putting a solo show on, hit me up. I'll tell you what not to do. And so one of the people who had come to the show was this friend of mine. She was a TV agent at a big agency. Let's just say it was CAA because it was. And this friend of mine says, hey, why don't you come into the agency? We're really interested in signing you. And I want you to meet the rest of the people who will be on your team in the TV lit department. I go into this meeting and the lit agents are like, oh my God, Melanie, you're gonna be our ethnic Whitney Cummings. You're gonna have multiple shows on the air at the same time. You've got more range than Whitney. Again, I'm just eating it up, yum, 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 yum. So the meeting's coming to a close and my friend who was this TV agent said, there's just one thing. I really don't like your managers and I share clients with them. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and fire them before we start working together. And I said, oh, how about you sign me first and then we can fire them. And she says, no, I'm not going to work with you until you fire them. In fact, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to call them today and let them know that you're going to fire them. And I said, okay. And she goes ahead, she does this. I call them the next day and they say, yes, we talked to her, we heard, best of luck, whatever. So after that happens, I'm so excited for my new career as the next, as the ethnic Whitney Cummings, going to take this town over. And I'm calling my TV agent, I'm like, okay, great. When are we going to set these meetings with these new managers? And she's like, yeah, I think the first thing we need, first she tells me, yeah, I talked to them and they let me know that they really didn't want you anyways. And they didn't care that you're leaving them. I said, okay, well, you probably didn't need to tell me that. But like, how about we get on to these new managers? And she's like, yeah, you know what I think actually before you meet with any new managers, I'm going to need you to write a new pilot. And I'm like, you're telling me now that you've already fired them, you want me to write a new pilot? She's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to go ahead and write a new pilot. So I said, okay, I put these ideas together. I'm like, you let me know which one you think I should move forward with. We have a meeting set up. I'm driving to the meeting. The assistant calls me and says, yeah, hey, this is now just going to be a phone call. It's not going to be a meeting anymore. She gets on the phone and I can tell she's never even read my email. And she's reading it as we're on the phone together. And she's like, yeah, write this pilot about your family. And I said, okay. I write the pilot about my family. I call, I'm emailing, texting, calling the agent to let her know that I've written this pilot. I'm ready for my new life to begin, ethnic Whitney Cummings in the wings here. And she stops returning my phone calls, doesn't return my emails, doesn't return my text messages. And then I find out that she has stopped being an agent. She's left the agency. She's left the agenting life. And I was like, oh my God, at the moment it felt devastating. Keep in mind, this is a pre-2020 world. You think things like not having representation is devastating. You don't know how bad things are going to get. And so I just thought, okay, I want to do something that I'm in control of. I don't need to rely on anyone else. And I had always wanted to try stand up, but I had always been so scared. I don't know of what, a failing, I guess. So I just told myself, okay, I'm going to give myself 1 calendar year to try stand up. And I was like, I don't know how anybody does stand up. I don't know how you write a set. I don't know how you book shows. I don't know how anyone does this, but I'm just going to give myself 1 calendar year. And at the end of the year, if it turns out I'm not good at it, or I don't like it, or it's just garbage, at least I'll know I tried. I don't ever have to wonder what if. So that was at the beginning of a year. And then by the end of that year, I was getting paid to do comedy. I had headlined a show, and I was in Helsinki, Finland. The Laugh Factory had this crazy competition called the Funniest Person in the World competition, which that's, again, another story for another day. But I had made it to the finals of this competition in Helsinki, by the way, suicide capital of the world. And it ended up being such a gift to be able to get there, to this place where I was really always meant to be. And I'm doing stand-up, and, it really kind of saved me in a way. And I had this boyfriend, and we were watching, there's this Werner Herzog documentary about penguins. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I didn't know this. All I think about penguins, I think, oh my gosh, they're so cute, and in the snow, bleep, 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 bleep. But so penguins, there are certain penguins who, this is so dark, they will leave the group and they will go off to certain death. I mean, they're suicidal. And even if, like, let's say the documentarians were to take these penguins and put them back with the group where they can be safe, the penguins will just turn around and go right back to certain death. And so I watched this documentary with my boyfriend at the time, and I said, oh, like, that's me, I'm that penguin, and he said, listen, if you ever go rogue penguin, like, I'm going with you, like, you're never going to be alone. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's the love of my life. Let me tell you what that guy didn't do. Stick around. So he's gone, but comedy is my constant study, and comedy has saved my life a million times. And the thing that I kind of realized recently is that I'm like, oh, my whole life I've been trying to recreate that moment from my youth where I went to that Cinderella pantomime audition to be a penguin, And I felt worthwhile for the first time. And so literally every moment since then, it's just been me trying to captivate a room of people, even on Zoom. So that's it. That's my story of how I came to LA. And yeah.
Wait, is that true that Helsinki has more suicides than anywhere?
Well, definitely when I was there a few years ago, it was the suicide capital of the world. I don't know now. Now it might be LA. I would have to Google.
Yeah. I wonder why though. I mean, is it the light or?
I think it's probably something to do with the weather and like, yeah, I think there's almost no sunlight for a lot of months of the year. It's really, really dark and cold. It's very isolated. It probably has something to do with like the culture, like
Yeah.
Scandinavians are not really into talking about their feelings or.
We need to up there with some comedy. That's what we need to do. We need to get them over here to the hour of power. That's what we need.
Let's go. I mean, they're open. So let's go, Christine. I'm ready.
There you go. Hey, Melanie, I have been through so many circumstances, not what you just described in that story, but so many gut punching situations where you just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, oh my God, no way. Bottom. Now I'm at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't really stop. But what happens is when you get to like where you are, Melanie, truly, you have confidence. You do so many shows. And so I think that now that you're running the show, like you're the quarterback of the Melanie Maris show. Now that you're in charge, it's full speed ahead. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, God willing, from your lips to God's ears.
I know, but what I'm saying is when you kept trying to make somebody else make your career happen,
exactly,
it doesn't necessarily work. It's like, no, you just have to do it yourself anyway, because how hard can they be working for you if you don't pay them?
Yeah, guess what? They're not working for you at all. I mean, you just have to do everything yourself is what it all comes down to.
It all comes down to doing it yourself. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had I'll wrap this up real quick, but I had an agent once tell me, here's the deal, Christine. There's 3 kinds of talents. The first talent is working right now. They've got a show, and every single month or every 2 weeks, I get 10% of whatever they're making. Then I have talents on my roster that used to have shows. They had a show last year or 6 months ago, but they lost the show. But they're probably going to get another show soon. So I got to work for those folks. And then there's people like you, Christine. You come in here. Why would I work for you again? You know what I mean? But it's so true. I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. Why would you work for me? What am I talking about? Now, if you take agents' projects that are already ready to be signed for, sometimes they'll do it for the 10%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I've had a lot of different reps at this point, and yeah. I mean, you just have to do it yourself. You have to
do it yourself. That's it. Yeah. All right, sister. Well, we'll see you in a little bit for Story Smash. I can't wait. You're always a fantastic contestant. And let's move along, you guys. This next guy, he's an actor and a comedian and a filmmaker. He's actually in post-production with a project that he created with his wife. And it features Tig Notaro, the comedian, and actress Annette Bening. How about that? You can find this guy on Facebook, and then he says that you can probably also find him on Twitter and Instagram, but he can't find himself there, so don't expect any content. I've known this man for 23 years. Please put your hands together for my very good friend, Peter Spruyt. Peter!
I don't have Finnish in my background, but I have Northern European roots, and it's true, we're a depressed, brooding, sad breed of people. I thought about today, I'm not going to do a conventional story because these aren't conventional times. These are times when a lot of people are struggling. And I think I know a thing or two about struggle because my 3 brothers and I grew up during the Great Depression. And that may seem like a odd thing to say. So let me tell you what I mean by that. My parents grew up during the actual Great Depression, but apparently no one told them it was over. So we got to grow up in the Great Depression also. And what that meant was that we had, thrift shop closed. My Mom darned our socks. If you don't know what that means, Google it. It's a dying art. We grew a lot of our own food. We had crappy used cars, and we had parts cars in the backyard to keep our crappy used cars running. And here's a wrinkle. My parents kept parts toaster ovens in the backyard next to the barn to keep our toaster oven running. They were innovators. But the important thing about this was that meant that we learned the value of the dollar. And we learned the importance of being careful with your money. And that's something that I think everyone can use right now. So this is a story that I've just titled, Think Before You Spend. In March of 2007, I was admittedly a little big-headed. I'd gotten a big residual check, and I squandered it, or part of it, recklessly by making an impulse buy, something I didn't really research. I went to the Bed Bath & Beyond on Olympic Boulevard, and I bought a new Oral-B electric toothbrush for $89.99 plus tax minus the 20% off coupon. But anyway, I was out the door for like $77.93. I've got the receipt somewhere, but not an insubstantial amount of money, right? Then, cut to a couple of months ago, the battery starts to go. So I'm upset, obviously. Anyway, I charge it. It would go for about 30 seconds and then it would die. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I figured out a workaround, because I knew that you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. And I thought about it. And if you brush your teeth for 30 seconds 8 times a day, it's the same thing if you do the math. So what I did was at 8 a.m., I'd brush the lower right side of my teeth, put the brush in the charger. 10 a.m., I do the lower left, noon, the upper right, to the upper left, and then repeat. And I'd floss on the 8s. So crisis averted, right? Now, cut to a couple of weeks ago, the brush loses its charge completely. So now I've got like a 73.97 doorstop, and it's not even a good doorstop because a toothbrush doesn't have enough mass to keep a door from moving. So my wife is like, why don't you just buy a new toothbrush? Why don't you just buy a new toothbrush? That's why people are struggling right now. It's not the time to just buy a new toothbrush. Am I right, people? The worst thing you can do is just buy a new toothbrush. Right now, we don't have a lot of money, but we've got a lot of time to research. So for those of you who are struggling, this is what I did, which all of us should be doing. A, I set aside 3 days to research. I Googled. I looked at YouTube unboxing videos where people opened their toothbrushes and explained what they were experiencing from them. I read some subreddits written by toothbrush enthusiasts. And I also read some verified Amazon reviews. And the key word here is verified, because if you don't make sure they're verified, there are a lot of people in boiler rooms writing fake reviews that are paid by the toothbrush lobby. So that's really important. Anyway, I'm looking at 2 different types of toothbrushes. I know this feels like a TED Talk, and that's intentional. There's the Oral-B type of toothbrush that goes like this, it rotates. And then there's the Sonicare toothbrush that goes like this. So just to review, there's this and there's this. And I'm leaning towards this for 3 reasons. 1, I've just been burned by the Oral-B toothbrush that only lasted 13 years. So I'm not going down that path again. And 2, and here's the thing I learned about toothbrushes, and this is important. The toothbrush head is to the electric toothbrush body what the inkjet cartridge is to the inkjet printer. If you did well on your verbal SATs, you might understand that. What I mean by that is you need a new printer, right? So you go to Staples, there's the printer with everything you need, and it's 29 cents. You're like, oh my God, I'm out of here. And you get it home, you're so happy, you print 8 pages, and the starter ink runs out. So then you go back to Staples, and what do you discover? The cartridges are $63 each, and you need 5 of them. For some reason, there are 2 that are magenta that you also need. Reason 3, 31,000 vibrations per minute. That's 62,000 vibrations per brushing, 124,000 vibrations per day. With that many vibrations, you're going to knock some plaque loose, right? So that's probably a really good toothbrush. Plus, I'm reading the reviews, and they're all like 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Every review is so glowing. My dentist thinks I'm cheating, that kind of thing. So I'm thinking, I'm putting this in my cart. And then it occurs to me, how come every single review is 5 stars when on the page before, the average review was 4.7 stars? That seemed odd, right? And then I realized what I did. I had accidentally ordered the reviews by best review first, and there were thousands of reviews, and I'd read only 136. So of course they were all 5-star. So now to get an objective view of what this toothbrush is, I got to read 136 1-star reviews, right? And it's a good thing that I did, because this toothbrush, it turns out, is a nightmare. First of all, there's this guy in Skokie, Illinois, who says he didn't even get his toothbrush because of porch pirates, whatever that is. And second, I come across this woman in Ottawa who initially gave the toothbrush a 5-star review, but then 2 weeks later, she changed it to a 1-star because after using the toothbrush only a few times, her bridge work came loose. And I'm thinking, I've got bridge work. I don't want my bridge work to come loose. So I do a Google search and I use 3 keywords: bridge work, Sonicare, tragedy. And I discover that there is a bridge worker from Staten Island, New York, who died falling off the Queensboro Bridge, and he had a Sonicare toothbrush. Now, do I know that he died because of his Sonicare toothbrush? No, but I don't know that he didn't. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and if you think about it, with all those vibrations inside his mouth, which is part of his head, think about what else is in your head, your brain, right? Do you think that might have caused some suicidal thoughts or dizziness or both? I don't want to commit suicide. I got a 12-year-old daughter. I don't want to commit suicide till she's at least 18 or starts dating. Okay, that was a bad joke. But anyway, the point of this is that we need to be careful. We need to think about our purchases carefully, and we need to do the right thing. I'm doing my part. You do yours. Thank you, Christine, and thank you to the Academy.
Peter Spruyt, ladies and gentlemen. Peter, you are a thinker. That I'll say.
That's part of the Northern European thing.
Wow, that's a tremendous story. What exactly toothbrush? What are you using now? What's the toothbrush now?
I got a Sonicare.
Okay. Well, listen.
It's got Bluetooth. It talks to my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It'll tell like if you're brushing too long or too short. It'll tell you. It vibrates if you're pushing too hard, so you can ease up a little bit, which is good for gum health.
Wait a minute. Whose voice do you have doing that?
What do you mean?
Is it like the voice from the telephone or from the toothbrush? Can you get a British voice? Can you have Sean Connery say these things?
No. It just vibrates. It'll vibrate to warn you if you're pressing too hard. So ease up a little bit.
I see. Wow, that's a technical toothbrush.
You're brushing too hard.
Oh, yeah. It's not what, really? Who's for tea? Peter Spruyt, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Peter.
That was a
Boy,
lightning
oh boy.
story.
We'll see you for Story Smash in a couple of minutes. Yes?
Good times.
Good times, man. Thank you, Peter Spruyt. Let's play tennis this week. Okay, so look, we've got another storyteller coming, but we're also running out of time. So I'm going to make my story 2 minutes long, and the next guy can do all his time. I wanted to tell you guys, hey, Peter, feel free to stick around. You can watch me. It's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm right here.
Yeah, you can comment. Feel free to comment. Okay, so when I'm not doing these sorts of shows in my podcast, I love to paint. And what I love to paint are Van Goghs because I love Van Goghs and I just like sunflowers in general, etc. So I am not beyond just painting his paintings, right? So I'll just take one of his paintings and then I'll paint that. So I'll give you a few examples. This is one of his. Yes, I forget what it's called, but there's 3 beautiful sunflowers. Yes, of course. And then here's another one. Here's another one, another sunflower. These are all available for purchase. No, they're not. I've given my mom a painting and a few friends. And then I actually did the big one, guys. This one did take me a while. I got to wrap it around the cord, unwrap it. Here we go. Check it out. Here we go. Wheat filled with crows. Wheat filled with crows, ladies and gentlemen. And so that was a really great picture that I did. And then I did this other one right out of the book that I so enjoyed. And here it is. This is this painting. It's called Undergrowth with Two Figures. And I just, for some reason, I love the lines on this painting and I like the colors. And so I've painted this undergrowth with 2 figures. I've been painting this, like, I bet I painted it 4 or 5 times, different sizes and different versions. And I've given them to friends and I got that picture, you know, again, out of the book. And I always thought about that picture. And I thought, like, you know, that's just so weird that it's called, you know, 2 figures in the undergrowth or undergrowth with 2 figures. I never really understood that, but fair enough. It's in the book like every, you know, the other paintings that I did. Here it is in the book right here. There it is. See, I'm going to bring it forward. Yeah, I know mine is identical. But I always thought, like, boy, oh boy, that's just so weird. There it is. Undergrowth with 2 figures. And one day I'm going through my Van Gogh book and I turn the page. Oh my, there's a whole nother page, ladies and gentlemen. There's the other side. There, in fact, are the 2 figures. And then there's mine, which I call Undergrowth with No Figures. Thank you. Peter? Anything, Peter? Anything, Peter?
Yeah, I have a couple of ideas for what you should call the first 2 paintings.
Okay.
First one, 2 beautiful sunflowers.
Uh-huh.
And the second one beautiful sunflower.
I think you might have something there. I think you might be onto something. Thanks, Peter.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys, our final storyteller tonight's coming up right now. He's super interesting. He was recently on the Storyworthy podcast. He teaches individuals and companies how to tap into their true selves to feel their happiest and most fulfilled, all by playing. You heard me. Playing. This guy has worked with Google, Microsoft, Southwest Airlines, Adobe, the NFL. He taught the NFL how to play. What? Amazon and Facebook, helping their staffs to infuse more play into the day-to-day. His play work has most recently been seen in the New York Times article, How Do We Add More Play to Our Grown-Up Life, Even Now? And he's also been featured on Soul Pancake, the San Francisco Chronicle, and CNN. Please welcome my friend, Jeff Harry. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, everyone? All right. I just wrote this story, so I'm super excited and slightly nervous. Let's see what happens. Okay. So I just wrote it, so I'm going to read it a little bit. All right. I'm 22 years old. I'm standing on a baseball field in Brooklyn panicking. 12 10-year-old boys are looking for me for guidance, including my girlfriend's brother, Jesse. And I don't know what I'm doing. I had convinced myself that this was a good idea to coach my girlfriend's brother's little league team, and I knew very little about baseball, basically nothing. 1 hour before the game, I had just got a call from Ezra's mom. So Ezra will not be attend the game tonight as he has a bar mitzvah, okay? And I started freaking out, like when you haven't studied for a test, because Ezra was my only catcher. Why did I only have one catcher? Because I was a horrible coach and I had no idea what I was doing. 45 minutes before the game, I'm sitting in front of the boys. Okay, everyone, we need a catcher. All you have to do is catch Hunter's ball. It's just like playing catch. Catcher is nothing like playing catch. It's the worst position in the game. The person has more gear on than an NFL linebacker. You are literally wearing a full body glove. So who wants to play catcher, huh? Absolute silence. Look, guys, if we don't have a catcher, we have to forfeit the game. Silence. And then I hear, I'll do it. Alex Broadbent stood up. Alex Broadbent. Now, Alex Broadbent was scared of baseballs. Alex had been up to bat 50 times and swung once. And I think it was gravity that swung. When you looked at Alex's thick glasses, you believed you could see paramecium and amoebas through them. But he had the confidence of a bright-eyed 10-year-old that didn't know any better. So I looked to his father, and his father's like, he shrugged. So I'm like, all right, why not? So we get catcher's gear on him. We just start throwing it on him, right? 25 minutes before the game. All right, Hunter, when you throw to Alex, don't throw so hard. I walk to the dugout. So Hunter throws a pitch to Alex, just warming up. It just whizzes by Alex's head. He doesn't even move. Hunter throws another one. Alex is frozen like a gargoyle. Okay, Alex, all right. So your job as the catcher is to just catch the ball. Alex, how about this? I just want you to put the glove like right here in the middle, and Hunter's just going to throw it in the mitt. You don't even have to move. Alex just, look, all right, all right. And Alex just looks at me all silent. Like, okay. 15 minutes before the game, I walk away because I can't look. I'm so nervous. And then I hear, yeah, Alex, way to go. And that's his father. And I look back at Alex, and he caught a ball. He finally caught a ball. It took 10 minutes, but he caught a ball. And he's just frozen, and Hunter's just beaming it in there. But I'm like, all right, this might work. We might pull this off. 5 minutes before the game, umpire comes up to me. All right, does your catcher have a cup on? Wait, excuse me? Yeah, cup. Your catcher needs a cup. What's a cup? A cup like protects the balls. What does that look like? And where do you put it? You put it in the jock strap. What's a jock strap? 3 minutes before the game. So I'm frantically looking through the catcher's bag, and I have no clue what I'm looking for. I find this narrow cereal bowl, and I'm like, is this it? Is this it? Is this the cup? So I run over to Alex and his father, and I'm like, Alex has to put this on. Well, where does he put it? You put it in the jock strap. Well, what's a jock strap? Just shove it in the underwear. 10 seconds before the game. Let's play ball. Hunter steps up to the mound. I'm so nervous. He winds up. He throws the first pitch, and I like wince. And Alex catches the ball. Strike! Oh my gosh, Alex caught the ball. He caught the ball. Yes. Hunter throws it again. Strike! Oh my goodness, he caught it again. I'm a genius. I put him in. That was my idea. I put Alex in. All right, just one more, Alex, just one more. My players start cheering. They're like, hey, batter, swing, batter, And Hunter winds up, and he throws, and the batter swings. And I see Alex's glove drop, not lower, but just drop. And my heart drops with it because I had forgotten that batters could swing. And when he swung, I had not prepared Alex for the bat flying in front of his face. So the glove that was perfectly frozen on Alex's chest was now on the ground. And I'm like, no. And the ball comes lacing in and it heads straight for that used cup and it hits the right side of the cup. Like, whoosh. And at first, it's just a deafening silence. And I didn't know what a shrill sounded like until I heard this shrill, but it was like, and it was such a mighty shrill that I could see a whale being like, whoa, dude, whoa, that is high. Someone should check on that kid. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is my fault. This is my fault. And someone's shoving me to get out there and check on him. And I'm like, I don't need to be out there. I can hear how bad it is from here. And then I realized that was my job to be out there. So I ran out and his dad is already hovering over him. And we look at each other and it's like, is it my fault? Is it your fault? Is it our fault? It's definitely our fault. Oh, and the tears are streaming down Alex's amoeba glasses, and we don't know what to do. We just know we need to remove him from the scene as the other kids are beginning to cry. So we grab his arms and legs, which is not what you're supposed to do. And we drag him behind a tree, which is 4 feet from the game. So it's not any better. Everyone can see him. They can't see him anymore, but you can clearly hear him behind that tree. I'm like, oh man. Someone runs to get some help and the ump comes up to me all nonchalantly and he's like, yeah, that's tough. You're gonna need a new catcher. Really? Huh? I have a player communicating with me in whale pain and this guy's trying to rush me. Yeah, you're gonna need that new catcher, or you're gonna have to forfeit the game. And then Alex's father says, yeah, go back to the game. I'll take care of my son. So I look out in the field and I see a sea of scared children. That's my team. How could I possibly ask them for the impossible? So I run over to Jesse, my girlfriend's little brother, who has the most frightened face I've ever seen him have. And he looks at me because he knows what I'm gonna ask him. And I'm like, look, Jesse, we're gonna have to forfeit the game if we don't get a catcher. And I look Jesse right in the eye and I say, listen, it is safer than you. A Star Wars Wookiee whale is coming from the tree while I'm trying to explain to him how safe it is. Jesse, look at me. It's gonna be okay. He knows I'm lying. I know I'm lying. He knows that I know that I'm lying. He's now frozen. He doesn't say anything, so I think he's saying yes, so I kind of walk him over. I drag him over to home plate and I just start putting gear on him. And I'm like, Jesse, you can do this. You can do this, dude. Look, I don't care if you catch a ball. I just need you to crouch down there and pretend to catch. And he's just nodding, scared out of his mind. And then that lovely ump comes up to me and he's like, all right, does he have a cup? Wait, excuse me? Yeah, a cup. He's gonna need a cup. Oh, we only have one cup and it's currently surgically connected to our last catcher behind the tree that is wailing. Yeah, he's gonna need that cup. Now for me to get that cup off, we would have to perform emergency surgery. Yeah, he's gonna need that cup. So by that time, there is now a medic from the community center, and he says Alex is going to be okay, but we need to move him and get some ice on that area. But before we move him, we're gonna have to get this cup off him. And a part of me is like, oh, that's gonna hurt. And the other part of me is like, oh, I need that cup. So they slowly start removing it like we are in surgery in Grey's Anatomy. And a whale that comes next turns from a shrill to a Wookiee to a visceral animalistic garble where it's like, And I feel so bad for Alex. And another part of me is like, man, can you keep it down? Jesse is listening. And 2 minutes of this pass, and we finally get it. And it's all bloody. And I carry it away while Alex gets walked away. And I'm, Jesse, put this in your jock strap. What's a jock strap? Just shove it in your underwear. Let's play ball. Our hunter gets ready to throw. Oh my gosh. I'm wincing. And then I noticed that Jesse is crouching exactly as I had said, but he is 15 feet from the plate. So there's no risk of him being hit or any ability for him to catch any ball. We walk 18 of their guys, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get through the game without mortally wounding any more children. Next game, Alex is back. He's fine. And as soon as I'm able, I retire from my Little League coaching career. I still don't know what a jockstrap is, and I'm okay with it.
Jeff Harry, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Harry, dude, you crack me up. I'm so happy I met you, and that it's just been really good getting to know you. Look at this, guys. This is the kitty with the cone on her head. Come on, Olive. She's not happy about the cone, but she won't have any babies. So that's the good news. Anyway, you guys, listen, we're going to start Story Smash in just a second, but I want to give a big round of applause to everybody who told stories tonight. Alonzo Bodden, Peter Spruyt. Where are you, Peter? I think he's there. There he is. Hi, Peter. Thank you so much. Great story. Jeff Harry, thank you so much. I'm just so happy we became friends. And Melanie Maris, thank you, sister. I appreciate it. You guys are all coming on Story Smash, which is coming up in just about 3 minutes. All right, you guys, one more time on behalf of all the storytellers. My name is Christine Blackburn. Good night.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy Podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.